the year next.
Cool.
Let's do it. So the nominees are Jan Blachowicz, which one of my proudest accomplishments of 2020 is learning how to say and spell his name.
I was going to say his name.
Blachowicz, baby. I got it down pat.
Yes, sir.
When we started, it was Blachowicz, and
Blachowicz. Blachowicz.
And I butchered it. I spent a good amount of time in 2020 fucking his name up, but I've typed it and said it so many times that I got the spelling and the pronunciation down on Jan Blachowicz. Man, so he knocked out Corey Anderson and Dom Reyes in 2020, which is compared to some of the other guys on this list, like as far as like activity this year and effectiveness this year.
And it won a title fight against the champion. He was the underdog.
Yep. And so I think I don't want to spoil my thing like I have been doing, but Blachowicz I think is right up there. I think he super deserves to have his name thrown into the hat. And like I said, it's 2020 male fighter of the year, not of the whole career, not the body of work.
And even if they fought last December, it can't be included.
That's also, I'm glad we kind of interpreted this category in a similar fashion because it's not name power. It's not. It's who.
It's your record.
Had the best year.
Absolutely. It's your record in your fights, who you beat, and what the stakes were in those fights,
and how you beat them. In my opinion.
Absolutely. I think that's a big part of how we're going to differentiate this because I think I know where you're going to go.
Totally. And then next we have Alexander Volkanovski. He's the 145-pound champ, correct?
Yep.
I'd be getting that. I'm glad I got that right. But he did not have a very active year in the calendar year 2020. He only has a split decision over Holloway,
in which I thought he lost.
And Holloway's a legend, but
that fight itself was amazing. Could have potentially been on the fight of the year list. But I wanted to give some respect to Waterson Hill. Yeah,
for sure. I wouldn't have been mad had you replaced Waterson Hill with that one, but I just not enough activity for me. The one win was a controversial split that you essentially barely won. Definitely, so Volkanovski, now if we're ranking just male fighters, period, like pound for pound, he's up there. But fighter of the year 2020, I don't know how much of a leg, that argument has to stand on.
Unfortunately for Volk, he's probably going to finish fifth in this category, but there's not a whole lot of other guys out there that are going to have an argument as to that fifth place position, just because Volkanovski is obviously in the position where he fights for belts.
Yeah,
you could say Jan versus Aldo and Jan for his earlier win in, I believe, January, but I don't know. I liked Volkanovski more because I respected his competition level. I think Holloway is still an extremely good opponent, and I thought Holloway won, like I said, but I have to go with what the judges have awarded. So.
No, for sure, man. It's all good. He is, when you're mentioning top UFC fighters, I mean, you got to throw in the belt holders, especially at an insane weight class like 45 featherweight. So, I totally get throwing the respect on his name. Next, we have one of our personal favorite fighters in the UFC.
Love this dude.
Izzy Adesanya. He has the decision win over Romero, and then the beautiful TKO over Costa.
The starching and humping of Costa.
And man, I'll let you. I've been talking a while. I'll let you kind of run with Izzy a little bit.
Well, what I love most about Izzy in this category is that, one, he called out Blachowicz to fight in 2021, so I think that's already cool and speaks to his want to go after the top end dudes. It's also going up a weight for him. And if you notice, we do have all champions in this category minus the last guy.
Yeah.
So Izzy this year, the Romero fight's super boring, but like he said in the post-fight interview, what do you guys want me to do about that? He needs to throw punches at me. I can't. He's like, it's a dance, and if I'm the only one dancing, he's standing, we're not going to look like good dance partners, are we? And I agree with him. Now, granted, that fight was boring.
And this is why, I may come across as like a Yoel Romero hater. I wasn't mad to see him go or anything like that from the UFC. He was what, 43 or 44?
44.
So
yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you, bro. It's time. It's time. And what's funny is Bellator originally said they didn't want to sign him, and then went back on it and said, we will sign him because they got Rumble Johnson and a few other people, so they're going to fight. PFL signed a bunch of people. I don't know. They signed Verdum. They signed Pettis. They signed Marcin, Olivier Aubin-Mercier. So a few other people.
Nice. Yeah, man.
But back to the idea of Izzy against Romero. What's funny to me about this is that Izzy beat the two dudes that are built like balloon animals.
Yeah. He definitely beat the first team all body. Added those heads to his wall. The TKO over Costa was so cool because there was so much hype, so much shit talking, so much marketing around the fight. I feel like Izzy, who already had a nice brand and following, grew his following like almost double in that. From the minute that fight was announced till like the humping took place afterwards, like his Q rating rose to the point where he was on the freaking Paul Robinson and Tyson fight. He was commentating.
Yeah, he was commentating. That's right. Good call.
He never would have been on that level without that Costa fight. So, Fighter of the Year 2020. It's weird because, I want to mainly take into consideration what took place in the octagon, and he was undefeated in the octagon. But almost the story of Izzy's 2020 almost has more to do with like Q rating and brand building and just popularity growth and essentially becoming the face of the UFC.
Yeah, like I think
he was on the cover of the game. I'm pretty sure the UFC.
Him and Masvidal.
It's weird. Like I'm kind of viewing this through more of a in the octagon lens, but the argument could be made if you're just talking about like who did the most for themselves, like maybe who made themselves the most money or made themselves rose their profile the most. Izzy, would have a stronger chance of winning this category. Just like I said, he had a great 2020. But just like, X's and O's, what took place in the octagon, which it was undefeated, but I think other people have had more impressive 2020s in the octagon. Maybe out of the octagon, though.
Very good point. Very, like, as far as his brand personally, no one built it bigger. Maybe. No, we'll get there. We'll blaze that trail in a minute. But who do you think had a better 2020, Izzy or Blachowicz? Because I don't think either of us had them winning.
No, it just goes back to how you view it. If you're viewing it in the octagon, like what actually, like who fought who and who, I probably got to lean Blachowicz, but it's just like
you think though? Because think about the level of competition, and it's both for belts both time Izzy fights.
Yeah, because the Corey Anderson is not nearly as impressive. I thought the Blachowicz getting the belt off Dom Reyes.
That was amazing.
And he was an underdog.
That was awesome.
Like, Izzy was favored in both of his fights. You know what I'm saying? So he essentially just did what he was supposed to do. Now, like, that's why when you're talking about, like, level of difficulty, winning as an underdog is, like, harder.
As the challenger, too. First title shot.
That's what I'm saying. As a guy who a lot of people probably didn't think should be there. And, like, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
He has a lot of haters. Not even haters. There's not a lot of fans. Like, a lot of people, like, try to run his name through the dirt and not put respect on it. And so, I don't know. I'm leaning Blachowicz. And that's coming from a huge Adesanya fan. But I really think the competition of this category comes down to these next two names.
I was going to say, right, they're neck and neck for the third spot. You took the words out of my mouth. So the next two guys are essentially who I think me and Don are about to debate out who is the male fighter of the year. That's going to be Deiveson Figueiredo and Kevin Holland.
Yeah. These two is really what those other guys, deserve to be on the list. Maybe not Volkanovski, but Figueiredo and Holland. This was their year. As far as so we've been talking about in this category up to this point how in the octagon versus out of the octagon. Both of these guys did los dos, both of them. In the octagon and out of the octagon, built the brand, hung the pelts on the wall, rose their platform, climbed the rankings.
Called their shots, talked trash, built the brand.
Active as fuck.
Super. These guys fought 9 fights between the two of them.
Yep.
And they didn't lose a fight between the two of them.
Yep. Didn't lose. That's very important lawyer distinction to make.
Lawyer ball,
Lawyer
because
ball in it.
Holland won all of his fights.
Yes,
Can't say
Holland
the
did.
same for Figueiredo.
So let's get into it. So Figueiredo, he beat Benavidez twice, finished him twice, and I think that can't be understated. How many rematches go to a decision because both guys know each other's style so well?
Dude, and the second finish might have been more brutal than the first.
Yes, that's real. And I can't read that. I'm too far away, so let me know. Feel free to shout that out or whatever.
Wow, going live doing the bacon shake. I don't know, but we are doing that.
Yeah,
We're doing it all.
Maybe there's like a Cleveland Browns game going on right now. Sorry.
During the bacon shake. Yeah.
We don't stop this Beefy Boys train for no weak ass AFC North football, man.
And honestly, I don't know if anyone else is aware of this. I don't mean to cut you off, Tom, but the Browns are the team that's out. If they lose a game in today and next week, if they lose one of those, and the Ravens, who have already won this week, win next week, and the Dolphins, who have already won this week, fuck the Dolphins for being the Raiders the way they did yesterday. If they win next week, they're in and the Browns are out, which is going to be hilarious. They could be 11-5 and miss the playoffs.
See, that I don't fuck with it. I want Baker to get in, but I just, you know what I mean? That would be fucked up. But, man, back to Figueiredo. I don't think it can be understated how difficult it is to fight a guy twice, finish him twice, one of each way. He subbed him once and TKO'd him once, gets the belt. Or he got the belt
on the second fight.
The second fight, right? And then his first title defense is against Alex Perez.
A quick guillotine, locks it in.
Quick money.
I mean, easy money.
Like, that's the fight where people like started saying like, oh, he's not like other flyweights. He's something new. He's a machine. He's a killer. He's a savage. The Perez fight, I thought, like, because everybody saw him look impressive against Benavidez, and I feel like a lot of people, that was still the main narrative was like, oh, but can he make weight consistently? And yeah, he'd already beat that guy. How many, like, can he defend it? And then he made just quick work of Perez and just easy money. And then everybody was like, oh shit, he dispatched of the number 4 ranked contender like
it was nothing,
like a tuna can. And then came the, much hype because the quick turnaround, like the 3-week turnaround to defend his belt against the number 1 ranked contender, who many think should have got it instead of Perez in the first go around. And,
I think that to be true for sure.
And even the UFC essentially admitted guilt by doing the quick turnaround fight. And he fought Brandon Moreno too, and we'll get into this more in the fight of the year category. But
and event of the year too.
Yep.
This has 3 nominations, man. That fight was very, very impactful to our awards. Very
impactful
much so.
To the division, impactful to the awards, and impactful to like the narrative of UFC 2020.
Probably to the UFC in general, because anyone that watched that is waiting for the rematch.
No, exactly. So Figueiredo, hell of a 2020.
Held his belt. That's important to note.
Held his belt. The Moreno draw, though, and actually, let's just get to Kevin Holland. So Kevin Holland, he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 victories in 2020.
In 7 months.
In 7 months, not even counting the whole year. Pretty much 5 victories since Corona hit. He TKO'd Anthony Hernandez. He TKO'd Joaquin Buckley, which everybody seems to forget, and I want to scream from the rooftops.
They write TKO in that finish. He KO'd him. He 1-2'd him and knocked his mouthpiece to the other side of the fence and then finished him. That's a KO.
It's a KO. Now, he did have the split decision win over Darren Stewart, but also keep in mind, between
should some not of these have been fights, split.
No, should not have been split, and there was also between some of these fights, 3 weeks, 4-week turnaround.
I think there were 3 weeks or 4 weeks between Darren Stewart and Buckley. Those fights were so close, so close.
And then he TKOs Ontiveros, which at that point, because you may notice, and I'll be right there with you, Hernandez, Buckley, Darren Stewart, especially Buckley when he fought him. Darren Stewart, Ontiveros.
Stewart was a good test, and then Ontiveros was because someone fell out of that fight, and they had
Yeah,
to get a late replacement. And he was scheduled to fight Trevin Giles, and didn't get to fight.
facts, all facts. And I'm just kind of playing devil's advocate here. This isn't my opinion, but for those people, those Kevin Holland detractors or naysayers or whatever, they're like, oh, he's fucking beating tuna cans every 2 weeks. Who gives a shit? Which I'm not. There's some good fighters in there, but when he fought him, they were just kind of throwing him guys. And then, after the Ontiveros and after 4 wins in a row, and after Buckley going on to prove that that was a better win than when it took place. That pretty much everybody was forced to take him seriously, and he was scheduled to fight Hermanson, and then
Which I was worried about. Worried about. I thought that might have been too big of a step up for him, too fast.
And then
I would have been wrong.
Getting the COVID swap against Jacare Souza, which we both thought was a better matchup for him, but still a real name.
And also the Hermanson Vittori fight was fantastic. It had a place in the fight of the year. Like, it was a top 10, I would say.
True that. It was barely on the outside looking in, but it definitely up there and worth consideration. But then the Jacare Souza knockout and how he knocked him out, you heard us discuss it in the knockout of the year category.
The fact that he put up on a KO of the year list was probably what cemented. I don't want to give it away, but it made a big difference for me.
Yeah, no, and I think the time has come. I think we're in lockstep again. We give this category, I believe, to Kevin Holland, correct? Or did you give it to
do, man. I do. And you know what's crazy is if Figueiredo had won his last fight outright, I would have given it to Figueiredo.
Took the words out of my mouth, my guy. Yeah, no, exactly. The draw, and I know I'm splitting hairs.
And I'm not trying to take away from Figueiredo. I'm just saying you were 3-0-1, and he was 5-0 and missed a fight because his opponent dropped out. Like, he could have maybe been 6-0 if all the scheduling had lined up. Got a KO of the year doing it.
Yes,
almost KO of the year.
Exactly, and I think
and 3 performance bonuses for Holland this year out of 5 fights.
Yes, exactly. The activity for Holland off top. I mean, 5-0 in 7 months. It's hard. Like, that may have just won it in and of itself.
There's only 4 fighters to ever be 5-0 in a year, and that's in a year. He's the only fighter to ever be 5-0 in 7 months.
Yep, exactly. So the activity. I think the fact of the narrative comes into play, right? Like, Kevin Holland. Like, everybody was doubting him. He was supposed to be just the guy, and he just kept proving wrong.
He's big mouth.
Kept winning. Exactly. Like, essentially, the UFC set him up to fail, and he
when
they
win. Yeah,
exactly.
When he fought Thiago Santos, it was like a lamb to slaughter, and all of a sudden he wasn't a lamb in the octagon.
Yes.
And Dana White respected him for that.
And
ever since
he's built his way from just a guy that you throw on a prelim to a premier name, a legit middleweight contender. And just he literally snatched respect from the grips of the UFC and the MMA fan community. It went from he forced you to love him, and it worked on me for sure. Figueiredo, like I said, and now the narrative of Figueiredo, he went from we got some new blood in the 125 division to oh shit, we got a badass new 125 champ. So, oh my God, is this guy even can we consider him a real human at 125?
Can anyone even touch him at 125? He's an absolute monster in there.
And then Brandon Moreno came and just David Goliath kind of just made a human out of him, humanized him.
And that is why that fight is nominated for Fight of the Year.
Yeah.
Which we'll get to later, but that fight, it works against Figueiredo.
Yes, I totally agree. Even though he kept his belt, it was like, and I know we've made this corny comparison before, but it really is like the Rocky Balboa. Rocky lost in the first movie, but he went the distance. He made Apollo seem human. He David Goliath, all those things. Figueiredo's year ended on Dauber down, not Dauber up. And maybe
Figueiredo literally feels like Apollo Creed to me.
Yeah, no, exactly. Then the rematch, we got Rocky 2 coming real soon, hopefully. And so, I think we're 3 for 3 as far as agreeing. Kevin Holland, male fighter of the year.
I thought we might disagree on that one, to be honest.
Man, when we're both even agreed on how we would have disagreed. Because if Figueiredo would have won,
it's crazy.
We both would have gave it to him, even over the 5, because that would have been 3 or really 4 title fights essentially, but the first one didn't count because of the weight cut, right?
Right, right,
Essentially,
right. So it's 3 title fights and 1 non-title fight. But if he'd been 4-0 in title
yeah,
fights,
yeah, no,
I
exactly.
would have, I would have given it to him, man. I
No,
swear,
I
I
would have
swear.
given it to
You
him.
got to respect champions being that active.
Exactly, exactly. So yeah, I mean, now Figueroa, he built his brand. He made a lot of money. I mean, he defended his belt. Close second, very close second. I respect the fuck out of what Kevin Holland's done, and just how it's not even what he did, but how he did it,
Absolutely.
and towards the end, who he did it to. But yeah, we can keep it pushing a female fighter of the year because I
Perfect.